Yes, it's a beautiful day, and I know that I am speaking to wonderful, amazing, hopeful people. If it were not for that, I don't think we would be here dealing with this or talking about life at all. I believe that most of us would have given up on life, or most of us would have, just zoned out everything. I don't know if you've ever been in a moment where you have literally zoned out the world, like you feel there is no good, and there is no hope. But one thing that brings me back here every single day to have these chats, to share my mind, some of the random thoughts, by the way, how I pick up some of these things. I sit and think about something. Sometimes it's triggered by some of the things that are happening around the world, mostly with my clients. When they come in and we have these sessions, my heart goes out to them, the compassion with which I handle them. And so some of their issues keep lingering in my mind, not in a bad way, not in a way that breaks me down, but in a way that empowers me to swing into action and to be able to share some of these things, so that some of you that are not yet on the bad side, you can be able to save your own lives. And some of you that things have already turned bad, you can be able to actually still save your life, okay? If you are not happy, life, there's a way just life is just not lifing. It just feels worse. It just feels you're fatigued. It just feels you're exhausted, and it just feels like you want to give up on your life. All right, so in the recent past, I've been talking a lot, or I've been dealing a lot with narcissistic issues. Yeah, you can, I know some of you will laugh, but Hilda, haven't you been dealing with narcissistic issues for the whole for all your life? I know I have done that, but again, in the recent past, I think it's been quite rampant. And I remember there's a time I made a prayer that should have been like 2 weeks ago, and I really wanted to come into this space. I felt like the end of as the year ends, or the months that are coming up, I felt like there was a lot that was going to happen in relationships, and I was asking God, is this the direction you want me to take? Because I am mentoring people to build massive businesses, to be able to impact the world, to be able to transform the world, to be able to hold other people's hands. But for as long as they are wounded in their relationships, that means that they are flashing their purpose and their and whatever impact they would have caused in the world down the drain, and we don't want that to happen. So I remember I'd opened up on Monday, and I had seen so far, I think there were 2 or 3 people, and they were emergency cases. They couldn't wait, and they were going through a lot of toxicity, a lot of brokenness. And so I was like, okay, God, give me a sign. If this is something where you want me to actually get into in these coming months, I need to be able to talk to more, let me say, I just gave a random number. I need to talk to more 10 women that are going through the same thing. And let me tell you, God, there is a way things happened. I got emergency cases, and they accumulated to actually 10 of them, because I usually send away the one-on-ones, because I'm mostly dealing with mass media right now. I'm dealing with TV, I'm dealing with mentoring, I'm dealing with, group coaching. So one-on-ones tend to, I'll be honest, to drain, because they take a lot more time and a lot more focus, and you have to have a lot more compassion to listen to people's stories and all that. And I was like, yeah, if this has happened, that means that there's a lot that is happening. Now, this is happening both sides. People are going through bad relationships, or broken relationships, or dealing with broken people. Let me just stipulate it: dealing with broken people, or dealing with toxic people, and dealing with healthy people. And the reason as to why I am here to actually talk about this is, number one, I have known while growing up, or I knew while growing up, how a healthy man looked like, a broken man looked like, or even a toxic man looked like. All the years that I've been in therapy, in couple sessions, I have known what it means, for someone to be healthy, for someone to be broken, and for someone to be toxic. And so today I want us to stipulate the side of the males. How does a healthy man look like? How does, because I will still say this, that 80% 80%, 75% to 80% of the people that I mentor are actually women. And I will still say that 70% to 80% of the people that come for individual sessions into my practice are actually women. Now, the 25% to 20 to 25% are males. Now, they usually have, by the way, very crazy thing that they are going through. They're being tormented. They're being put down, as we are going to see in some of the things that we are going to talk about. But today, I want us to measure on, because most of these women have asked me, how do we tell a healthy man? How do we tell a broken man? How do we tell a narcissistic man or a toxic man? You've talked about these things, but what are the telltale signs? If we are single, we want to be able to avoid. If we are married or attached, we should be able to tell, so that we can be able to know how to help ourselves, because then we are being pulled down from, you know, practicing our purpose, or even the career that we want, or even as parents, as mothers, we are being pulled down, and there's this weight, there's a lot of exhaustion, and we just don't know how to handle it. And guess what? I was actually invited by also a group of men to talk about a healthy man, a healthy man, and how this looks like. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going to join these things and be able to talk to us about this. And I just have random thoughts about that I've picked from my clients, that I've picked from, you know, from the people that I have dealt with. And I know that these random thoughts are going to be so helpful to us to be able to guide us to understand what the difference is. And when we talk about a healthy man, okay, a healthy man, I will say that most of these things come back to the upbringing. They come back to the social conditioning. They come back to where the environments where we have been brought up from. They come back to, you know, they come back to some of those foundational principles. But I want us to differentiate, because a healthy man is really created by parenting, good parenting, okay, and sometimes not just good parenting, but the present kind of parenting, okay, present kind of parenting. And I will tell you that there are some good men or healthy men that are not just as a result of good parenting. Maybe that did not happen, but it was a divine intervention, okay. Someone just sought to be good. Someone just decided to be good. They learned from their bad situations. Life was not good to them. So they picked up lessons and they learned to actually work on those lessons, work on their lives, and they became better men. Okay. And I'll just give a scenario here, or a story, just a small story. Recently, I was at a washing bay, and this lady comes to me and tells me about this young man that she actually brought to the washing bay to do some washing and even administrative work. Now, when this boy came, she calls him a boy, but when I asked her how old he is, she told me he's around 2021. And so she had hoped that, you know what, life would be good now that he's out of the village and he's in the city and he's doing this administrative work. And, she has really trusted him to do this. Now she discovered down the road that this boy was not speaking at all. Like, even if she asked questions, she would even, whenever there's a shortage and she's asking what happened, the boy would just look at her. So how do we go about this? The boy would just look at her. Are you hungry? The boy would just look at her. And so, like, this went on and on until she felt maybe there's something wrong. Because again, there are some days where we don't have shortages, but there are some days we have shortages. I don't know what is happening in this boy's life. He never mentions anything. And, it just felt like everything was sad around this boy. Now, she took the liberty to ask about his upbringing. And so she discovered that his father worked out on them when they were very young. Okay. And so, and then after that, actually, after working out on them, he went on to lose both his parents, and then he was taken somewhere at age 12 to go and tend to some animals, and no one knows what happened there. And so life went on until now he's 2021, and it just seems like he's tied up in a certain bad bubble or a bad dream somewhere, and things are just not happening. Now you see the parenting at first when the father moved away, and then the mother would not afford the kind, you know, bringing them up, and you know, they were divided amongst relatives, and then the parents now are gone, and all of a sudden the world has to take them up. Now you see that kind of situation. I remember looking at this lady because she was asking me, what do I do about this boy? And I was like, you know what, the only thing that can be able to actually redeem this boy is unconditional love, unconditional acceptance. It's very possible that he was never accepted after losing his parents. You don't know what happened to him at age 12 when he was taken wherever he was taken to go and work. You can never know what kind of boss this person, this boy had. And it's very possible that this boy was actually at a crossroad where if he, you know, as a boss would ask you, okay, what happened here? So if you respond, you are doomed. And if you don't respond, you are doomed. I don't know whether we have seen such situations. So I told her it's very possible that this boy is not responding or is not even saying anything because he was conditioned, he was reprogrammed, that whenever he said something, it was, I mean, whether he said or he didn't say, he was doomed. So either way, he just decided that, you know what, I think the best thing is for me to freeze. The best thing is for me to just look on, because if I speak, I am bad. If I don't speak, I am bad. So you see that kind of conditioning. Now you see, when we talk about the healthy man, that the upbringing is usually good, and if the upbringing is actually not good, they usually find their way into, or God finds a way of extending His grace, and there is divine intervention. Now, I told this particular lady that, you know what, and unless there is divine intervention for this boy to actually pick up the lessons from wherever he has come from, and to know that, by the way, he has now a chance to reconstruct his life, to rebuild his life, it's very possible that he will even lose what he has right now. That you've given him a job, you are paying him, you know, at least some decent money, and you care about his well-being, you care that he eats, you know, that to the extent that he would not even eat. So you realize that some of the divine intervention comes in form of humans, you know, people that will pick you up from wherever, you know, your pieces were scattered, and you know, maybe they will accept you, maybe they will love you, maybe they will show you care, and you will start to piece together your pieces, and then all of a sudden you turn into this healthy man. Because we're going to talk about the signs of a healthy man. You turn into this healthy man. Why? Because the upbringing maybe was not good, but there was divine intervention, that someone picked up on you and they were able to help you. And some of these people can be random people, can be uncles, can be, but some of these people are actually the people we actually start dating later on in life. Just imagine this boy. I told this lady, the boss, I told her that, you know what, unconditional life, if this boy ever, you know, is privileged to get into a relationship that is fully supportive, that the woman loves him 150%, you know, that a woman is willing to be with him through the thick and the thin, it's very possible that this boy can be healed, okay, and all of a sudden he can piece his pieces together, he can pull himself out of that ditch, and then before you know it, you will start seeing him putting on nicely, bathing, using a cologne, and you know, cracking some jokes. And when you ask him, maybe he's not going to say a lot of things, but he will say some things. Why? Because he has found love. But again, on the other side, I told her that if this boy bumps into a user, a manipulator, or even someone who loves, but loves for the wrong reasons, maybe for money, and all of a sudden the girl walks away, there are high chances that this boy will become suicidal. There are high chances that this boy is either becoming suicidal, or is going to be totally broken, or he's going to be totally toxic, because he's not going to believe in anyone. Those are the men that you find at age 40, at age 50, and you know, they've given up on life. They've given up on life ever improving. Why? Because they loved on someone. They counted on someone's acceptance, and that person never accepted them, or was never with good intentions, or was never fully present. So you realize that it's quite a criteria. But again, I just want us to get the difference, because women, this is your day. We will talk about a healthy woman and a broken woman and a toxic woman after some time. But today I want us to dwell on the men, okay? To dwell on the men so that we can know the difference. If you're a man, you can tell that, okay, I am actually broken, I am actually toxic, or I am actually a healthy man. If you're a woman and you are dealing with a healthy man, you will know that this is a healthy man. If you're dealing with a broken man, you will know that you are actually dealing with a broken man, because some of these things have deterred people's growths. If you're a woman that is dealing with a broken man, or even with a toxic man, it deters your growth, or it delays your growth, or sometimes you have to get to a place and just, you know, leave the whole place, you know, or because you are parenting children with a toxic man or with a broken man, life becomes so disappointing, it becomes so hard that even you who is not broken tends to become suicidal, tends to become depressed, and you tend to give up on the world altogether. So you realize that for someone to be healthy, for a man to be healthy, this is a contribution of parenting. It is a contribution of divine intervention. It's a contribution of, you know, having a strong support system, or even meeting the right people at, you know, at the right places, at the right corners. And so that intervention helps save you, and it helps you become a better person. And I want us to look at the traits before we even go into finding out what a broken man looks like. I want us to look at what the traits, okay, of a healthy man are, because it's very, very important. And I can tell the traits, number one, because I have been privileged, okay? God has blessed me to have a healthy man in my life. And I will tell you, there's nothing that beats that. I think I've talked about how, I mean, if I have grown this much, if I've pursued my purpose, if I've been able to change people's lives, to transform people's lives, to travel the nations, if I've been able to if I've been given a chance to grow as fast as I can, I don't take that for granted. Yes, I have my mother to say, you know, thank you to. Yes, I have my siblings that have supported me. Yes, I have other people that God has placed in my life that have supported me. But I will tell you, nothing beats that support of a healthy man in as far as your growth as a woman is concerned. Nothing beats that, okay? Because even if you come from good parenting and good support system, and you land into a broken man's life, or you land into a toxic man's life, the best they can do is to clip your wings, okay? The best they can do is to be insecure. The best that they can do as a toxic man can do is to be able to pull you down as fast as they can and as hard as they can. The best they can do is to talk you down. The best that they can do is to make sure that they torment you, that you never amount to anything. Well, a healthy man, let's go into that. He just doesn't feel like he is superior and he's a prize to be won. He just doesn't feel like a woman is weak and down and should be on the floor and should be a rag. There is a way they feel like we are equal human beings because they are established in their manhood, and so they reject any notion that a woman is nothing. They believe that a woman, if I'm supposed to enjoy this relationship, I should know that she is as important as I am. I should know that she deserves as much care as she extends to me. So you realize that that is the foundation for reciprocation, because when you give love, you receive love. While in the toxic man's life, when you give love, you receive abuse. When you give love, you receive manipulation. When you give love, you receive competition. Yes, you receive competition. When you give love, all you receive is being brought down and being put down and being, your confidence has to be beaten down and your self-esteem has to be beaten down. And I know that while I speak of the healthy man, I'm going to be having so many comparisons. So as we have this comparison, I might as well give you the basis or the foundation for a broken man and a toxic man. So let's briefly run through the foundations of what creates a toxic man. What creates a toxic man, I would want to, and this is a conversation I still had with my husband, because yesterday, I don't know what we were talking about while we were driving home, and I was asking him, but do you think that when a toxic man or a narcissistic man lies, that they go ahead to believe in their lies and they're cemented in their brain, and now they don't know the version of the true story? All they believe in is a lie. Because I have seen narcissistic and toxic people lie, okay? And when they lie, they tend to believe, my belief is they believe in their lies so much that the truth ceases to happen. While my husband was telling me that, you know what, there is a portion of them, maybe not that much, could be 30% or 40%, but they know what the truth is. But what they want is, because when you know what the truth is, but you've been lying, okay, the lie is making you uncomfortable, so you need to be able to cover up constantly, okay? And so the camouflage, the lying and everything else shows you that they know what the truth is, but they don't want to face the truth because the truth is convicting. The truth makes them guilty, and they don't want to be guilty, so they will cover the truth with as many lies as possible. And you know, when you cover up the truth with a lie, you have to lie forever in order for that truth never to come out. And so now, I got to deduce or conclude that toxic men are made under demonic influence. Yeah, demonic influence, because sometimes you don't know why and how this person gets their view of life, or through which lenses they are actually looking at the world, because the lenses seem to be demonic. The lenses seem to be, you know, like users, manipulative, okay? So, and then the poor social conditioning as well, the poor social conditioning, because if this person or this man, because we are talking about men today, had to be able to develop a defense mechanism during the times where, you know, the parenting or being brought up by a guardian, and so they had to protect themselves by lying, they had to protect themselves by manipulating, they had to protect themselves, because if they were normal human beings, okay, that means they would have been either punished, that was a punished character in a home or in their guardian's home or wherever they were. And so they felt like, you know what, in order for me to survive, I need to be able to be manipulative, to be lying, and and now sometimes they even grow up. Just imagine you growing up under the influence of someone who is toxic. That means your normal is dysfunction. Your function becomes your dysfunction. As in, it is normal for you to dysfunction. So your dysfunction is your normal. While we are looking at it as a normal people, we are looking at healthy people, we are looking at it as a dysfunction. For you, you're looking at it as the normal thing, because it was the day-to-day thing in your home or where you were brought up from. So, and then sometimes it's not even where you were brought up from to become toxic or narcissistic. Sometimes it's even the influence that you take on later on in your life. Because when you say that you are the average of 5 people in your life, so just imagine whether in secondary or in college or wherever it is, or even in the workforce or work colleagues, you have surrounded yourself with people that are toxic and narcissistic. Before you know it, your character or your true character is eroded, the health part of you is eroded, and so you start replacing that with toxicity and narcissism, because that is all around you. You breathe in that, you speak that, they speak into your life because you hang out with them. And so before you know it, when they say a woman is nothing, yeah, a woman is nothing. You know, a woman is supposed to be a servant forever. A woman is that. So whatever it is, at first maybe the healthy part of you will fight with their notion. But after some time you will stop fighting, because they will have more examples. Because they will, as in, that's why we say, if you are not strong enough, do not try to pull someone out of the ditch, because it's possible that if they are stronger than you or heavier than you, they will pull you into their ditch. So some of us feel like the need, oh, they are not that good, but I'm amongst them. Let me walk amidst them so that I can be able to influence them. But the only way you can be able to influence them is if you are stronger than the people that you are influencing. So you realize that now, if you get into circles of toxic men or narcissistic men, you will tend to become toxic as a man. You will tend to become narcissistic as a man, because you've rubbed shoulders with these people for a very long time, that now you cannot differentiate between what is healthy and something that is not healthy. Why? Because now it's an environment that you are used to, okay? And then the toxic man is made or manufactured under demonic influence, just like we have said, the poor social conditioning and the perpetual low self-esteem. The perpetual low self-esteem. But again, this is what you should take care of. If you are looking, because I know there are men that are really concerned about men, and you're really concerned about mentoring men. And I know there are women that are really concerned about mentoring men. But again, I know that there are women that have been taken advantage of, okay, and manipulated by toxic men. A toxic man has very low, like the lowest self-esteem. But how they show up in the world is different. They show up as the most confident people, to camouflage and hide their low self-esteem. That is why they'll be egocentric. Everything is about me. Do it for me. Push me. Love me. Give me. And there is no sense of reciprocation, because if I reciprocate, that makes you equal to me, and I don't want you to be equal. I want you to be less than, so that I will feel important, so that I will feel like like I'm dominating, so that I will feel like I am the man. And that is a very toxic trait. Okay, let me just walk away briefly from a toxic man. Let's talk about a broken man, because I know so many people have asked me this question in so many workshops, the difference between a toxic man and a broken man, and the thin line that actually separates them. That is why most people think broken men are actually toxic, and they think toxic men are broken men. And yet these are totally two divergent issues that need to be addressed differently, and we need to be able to understand them differently. Now, when it comes to a broken man is really produced by lack of parenting, okay? And the lack of parenting does not mean really, or maybe this person is an orphan, but sometimes the father figure, the one that would have showed him what it means to be a man, is actually absent in his life or in the man's life. And so as he grows up, he becomes broken, okay? The father figure is absent. Sometimes, by the way, it can be because the upbringing is really about, you know, the father figure, or, you know, the parents, just to keep you in good shape. And sometimes even if you belong to a single mother, and you can have a good father figure that is not really your father, that can also, you know, patch up and put you in in a good space. But look at this, after some of them grow up, and maybe they grew up, they were healthy, they came from healthy upbringing, you know, present father and all, some of them are actually made by broken relationships, okay, or bad relationships, not just broken relationships, but bad relationships. They decided, they were brought up well, they were healthy men, and all of a sudden they got into the dating arena, and then they bump into the worst kinds of women. Because let me tell you, there are more men that have been broken by women than we usually mention, and than we usually want to acknowledge. Because women speak louder and women scream because of the toxicity and the brokenness and whatever has been done to them. It doesn't mean that men are not suffering. Men are suffering, but they're suffering in silence. Men are suffering by, some of them just give up on life. Some of them become suicidal, and some of them become broken, that rebuilding them becomes so bad, okay, or it becomes so hard. When you find a broken man, most of the times, by the way, they will tend to want to stay in their broken state because they are protecting themselves, or they don't want to be vulnerable anymore to bring any more brokenness, because they're like, you know what, I am already, sometimes, and by the way, they don't know that they're broken. But some of the men that have shut their lives up, okay, they are no longer trusting, they are no longer, they say they're tired and exhausted, bako, they no longer want to, you know, get into any love relationships, or maybe they were kind in the past relationships, but because they were bad, they became bad relationships, they were negatively, they were broken, and now they don't feel the need to reinstate the health part of them, the healthy part of them. They still want to move on broken, because broken is better than being healthy, because when they are healthy again, they will be taken advantage of, they will be manipulated, and they will be dumped again, or I mean, someone will treat them bad. So you see how a bad relationship, a broken relationship breaks a man so bad, okay? And we don't talk about these things, but it is insane, the amount of men that I have met that have told me that, you know what, I don't think I will ever date again, or I don't think even if I date, or even if I get a woman, it will be for children and just for status that I am married, but I don't think I will ever let my heart fall in love again. Because falling in love is a constant state of falling, of being vulnerable, of being at the mercies of another person, is you getting your heart and trusting another person that they are going to protect your heart, okay? But we know that we have trusted our hearts with people that have ended up breaking them. So sometimes broken men are made or are produced by bad relationships. Social conditioning is another thing. I think social conditioning is something that really cuts across. But, you know, when you go to some of these things, I think you've had how the conversations that men have in saunas, the conversations men have in what are they called? But in hangout places, really, hangout places. And so they keep talking about how broken they are, how you cannot trust a woman, how you cannot, you know, how someone trusted a woman. They will usually have all those stories, okay? And sometimes it will be, you know, how to manipulate a woman, how to get a woman to be submissive, how to get a woman, and there will be weird conversations, you know, just to break down a woman, to break this down and to break that. Now, but they come broken. Why? Because someone has trained them, because they were thinking, oh, when I get into a relationship, you know, it's going to be an equal relationship and it's going to be a love relationship. I'm going to be vulnerable. But now a man is telling them, if you are vulnerable, you are going to become supper and you are going to become lunch for a woman. And so this man is thinking, oh, I don't want to become anyone's breakfast or anyone's lunch. So I am going to go into that relationship as a macho man. Now, they're not getting into a relationship as macho men. They're getting into a relationship as broken men, because someone has actually broken them. They were healthy. All of a sudden, because of social conditioning, okay, there is someone that told them that, you know what, what? You think you need to take care of a woman? Ah, those things are of long ago. then men no longer take care of women. Do you know that you can get into a woman's life and the woman will take care of you? Now, all of a sudden, what are they creating? They are creating a monster that is going to be begging. And by the way, not just begging with vulnerability and softness, but begging, but with arrogance, with a certain level of arrogance. That is how you tell that a man has been broken. So, and then the social conditioning, where does it come from? From broken men. Where does it come from? From toxic men. Because a healthy man is one that will lead you in the ways of being healthy. Okay? And sometimes a healthy man, by the way, can be broken, but they do not stay in the state of brokenness or want to perpetuate or even preach their brokenness to other people. That is why I've told so many coaches, the coaches and the public speakers and the brands that I mentor, and tell them that you need to heal. You need to heal. Before you can help other people, you need to heal. What do we heal from? We heal from brokenness. We heal from toxicity. We heal from manipulation. We heal from some of these things that have been done to us. And all of a sudden, we don't just go saying that, you know what, whoever I meet in the world is going to be like that. No, you don't just get into, for example, marriage counseling and all of a sudden you're preaching your fears. You're like, like the Sengas used to do. You know, you have to be very careful about men. But this is a Senga that is speaking to a woman that is getting fresh into marriage. They have high expectations. Oh, they've been swept over their feet, you know, and head over heels for this relationship. And they want their marriage to work. They want, and all of a sudden, there is this auntie that has never healed, that is broken or even toxic, that has come to speak into this young girl's life in preparation for marriage. What is she going to tell her if she's not healed? She's going to warn her. She's going to tell her, you do your own things, he does his own things. You know, you don't do this. For me, I did this and this, and this ended. This is where I ended up. So they are very bitter. So they are grooming bitter young ladies to get into marriage. And that is a loss. You should be able to heal. Because after you heal, even if you are not yet in a proper or the good relationship like we all want to be, it's very possible that you will show them the goodness, okay, of a man and how to be able to make their relationships better, their marriages better. They will not preach their fears, because they will be like, it's possible that I'm the one who bumped into a broken man, but it's possible that this young lady has a good man, a healthy man. So I should not preach my fears so that she goes with all the guards. She gets into marriage with all the guards and all the lenses and all the filters, all the bad filters and all the evil filters. Let me give her a chance to create her own story of triumph, her own story of overcoming. It's very possible. So do you see that now when it comes to men, you know, they will also preach their insecurities. They will also, and they will have all the weird stories to tell you. So social conditioning is something that is really bad. And some of these things are happen in saunas, they happen in whichever clubs that they have gone to, you know, wherever there is a network of men. For as long as most of them are broken, they are going to preach that. And you will find healthy men, by the way, moving out, because they'll be like, sometimes I don't know, I don't have any contribution in that scenario. And sometimes when they ask you for a contribution as a man, they expect you to give even a worse version of the contribution. Now if you don't have, now you're the odd man out. And now this is what most of the broken men, they will start ganging up against you, and they will be saying, you know, he thinks, you know, the world is a soft place. Let's wait until he's broken. Let's wait until he's manipulated. But not everyone is supposed to be broken. Not everyone is supposed to be manipulated. And even if they get broken at some point, it's very possible that they want healing. They don't want to wallow in self-pity of brokenness for the rest of their lives, and then to also go on preaching that and mentoring other men and younger men into brokenness. That is not a cycle. That cycle, you must be able to say, you know what, it ends with me. Even if you're a parent and you were brought up in brokenness and you became a broken man, you can choose to heal. That is why we have conferences. That is why we have seminars. That is why we have mentorship. That is why we have coaches. That is why we have counselors. That is why we have religious leaders, that you can choose to say, yes, it's possible that I was dealt a bad hand. Yes, it's possible that my upbringing was not good. The social conditioning was not good, but I want better for myself. I want better for my children. So this cycle ends with me. This cycle ends with me. This cycle of brokenness and narcissistic tendencies and toxic tendencies ends with me. And it is very possible. Okay, so let's go back to, because I was giving you the traits and I was finding myself in a place where I was comparing, but I needed us to know how these traits actually come about: the brokenness, the healthy man, and then the toxic man. Okay, so most of the healthy, I told you the reason as to why I am so passionate about men, those that are broken and narcissistic, becoming healthy, because I have firsthand tested what it means to be with a healthy man that has a healthy dose of confidence and self-esteem. And let me tell you, there is nothing that beats that. You will grow and become anything that God wanted you to become. When God says that before your parts were woven together, I had a plan for you, and a plan to give you a good ending. A plan, as in God has a plan, and the plan is for us to grow. The plan is for us to create empires, to build bigger businesses, to build, careers, to build good lives, to nurture good children. God has a plan for every woman to actually have a good man in their lives. But how do you tell? The other thing, because we talked about them reciprocating, the other thing I found out is healthy men are in sync with their God. They are in sync with their God. The God factor actually makes it even more pronounced. Okay, the God factor, because before they even seek to make you feel good or to love you better, that means they love on God better. They love on God first. So God comes first, and then you come next in their lives as a healthy man. Okay, so because most of the broken men and toxic men, actually, you will find that for them, their job will come first, or their material infatuation and fantasies will come first. Their gadgets will come first. Like, for them, it's about something else that takes precedence. It's not about you. It's not about God. It's not about, because when someone submits fully to God, they can be able to love you in a better way, in a healthy way. Okay, so I need you to be able to look out for that. And then they are in touch with their purpose. They know the reason as to why they exist on earth, because that in a way actually feeds into the self-esteem and the confidence that they're not competing with anyone. Okay, they're not competing with anyone, because when a man doesn't know his purpose, okay, and just imagine, a man doesn't know his purpose, a woman knows her purpose, because and this man is broken. The man is always saying, you're just showing off. For them, they don't know its purpose. You're just showing off. You're just doing too much for not good reason. Do you think the world is going to reward you for what you want? Do you see what a toxic man or a broken man will tend to do? While a healthy man, because they know, you know what, I'm on this earth to impact, to help other people. So you are part of who they help. As their wife, as their girlfriend, as the person, or even as a friend in their life, you are part of the people that they're supposed to help, part of the people they're supposed to uphold, to pray for, because they are healthy and they're not here to compete with anyone. And so they feel like, we are supposed to grow. If you get that position faster than I do get it, I should be able to support you. I should be able to push you higher. So they know their purpose. They know they have a vision. There is nothing that beats a man that has a vision. A healthy man has a vision. A healthy man knows where they are headed. That is why they make proper decisions now that can help them get to the vision that they want. When a healthy man envisions or has a vision of, you know, let's say in 20 years time, my family will be this tight-knit family, and we will be serving God together, and we will have built an empire, you know, an empire that is self-sustaining, and I will be in position to even leave a concrete legacy for my family, because they say that a good man leaves an inheritance for their children, and your vision is to leave inheritance and a legacy for your children. Do you see how you plant proper seeds right now? Because God cannot be mocked. What you sow is what you reap. Okay, so that means that in order to get to the vision, because a vision is a picture of what you want ahead, a clear picture, okay, and we need that clarity to be able to sow the right seeds and make the right decisions right now. So if you know that I want that family in 20 years, that means you are not going to cheat on your on your family. That means you're going to give your family time. That means you're going to give your children time. Because how do you want to leave inheritance to vagabonds? You cannot leave inheritance, you cannot leave a legacy to vagabonds. Because of bad parenting, the seeds of bad parenting that you planted, and then all of a sudden you want to reap a good family after 20 years, a good for children that are going to come through for you, children that will want to come and see you, children that will want to party with you in your old age, children that will pray with you, and children that will be able to carry on your legacy. How are they going to carry on your legacy if you were not healthy enough to be present as a father, to be present as a husband, okay, and to be able to actually not only just tell them of the good businesses that you do, but show them, involve them, okay, pray with them, eat with them, you know, hang out with them. And now, because you've sown this this harmony, when the 20 years from now comes, you will still be in harmony. They will feel like, when I need to see my father on a weekly basis, I need his wisdom, because they have fed from your wisdom, because you sowed that, because you used to take them to your projects, because you showed them that you want to, they're important enough to know what is happening in your life. So you see, a man, vision is just bigger than saying, oh, I have a vision. No. Vision is something that we sow seeds for in order to get to the vision that we envisioned, okay? Just like when we have those vision boards and we say that, oh, I want to become a powerful public speaker. That is a vision. What you do between when you conceive that dream and the materializing of that vision is that you need to be able to be mentored. You need to be able to practice. You need to be able to give full attention to what it is that you want to get into. If you want to say that, okay, I want to have this mansion, or I want to have this kind of business, and then you're like, okay, what is it going to take between now and then? That's going to take, you know, me putting aside some money, saving some money for investment. Then that means you are going to materialize your vision. So a healthy man has a vision, okay, and they are working towards that vision. But I will tell you that a broken man, they have glimpses and flashes of visions, and they're more like wishing or wishes, and they're more like what would I call fantasies, okay, but they easily become distracted. They easily become distracted, okay, because of their brokenness. They cannot sustain a level of let me say, they cannot sustain a level of a good workmanship. They cannot sustain a level of infidelity, of fidelity, not infidelity, because when you're broken, you can easily branch off into infidelity. But when you are healthy, you can maintain a level of fidelity. You can maintain a level of truthfulness. You can maintain a level of faithfulness. You can maintain, it doesn't mean that you don't have temptations. It doesn't mean that, you know, things are not throwing themselves at you. It doesn't mean that you're not seeing, that you're not human. It doesn't, no, it just means that your eyes are fixed on the goal and you know the vision that you want to achieve as a healthy man. Now, that is where when someone is broken, they need a lot more support. When someone is broken, by the way, they can be fixed. They can be fixed. So that means that they can, when they get off the road, when they take the detours, they can be able to come back. But sometimes the detours kill the goodwill. The detours kill the people that would have supported them. Because when you see the patterns of a broken man, that one day they are down and the next day they are up. One day they are good and the other day they become bad. Or maybe they are good for a month and they become bad for a day. That means their bad is going to cover up the good. And that means that their support system tends to move away from them and walk away in anger and in frustration. And so that means they end up not having anyone. That is why I usually have warned men for the past 15 years or so, and some men have hated me, and I've said that the seeds that you're sowing in your 20s, in your late 20s, in your 30s, are seeds that you are going to reap heavily in your 50s and your 60s. And so if you sowed brokenness, if you sowed, you know, bad patterns, if you sowed absence from your family, if you sowed, you know, this lack of harmony, let me tell you, you are going to reap it. When you want your children to be by your bedside, when you want your children to carry on your legacy, no one will be around, because they will be like, you know what, stay with your legacy. They will be like, you know what, I've said it before. There is a lady that told me, you know what, I called her, the family called me to call her and tell her, you know what, please, go see your dad. You know, it's possible that, you know, he might not be, maybe his life is, you know, he has 2 days or 1 day. You never know. Go see him. And I was like, no, call me after he's dead. I'll come and bury. Like, do you know what my father took us through? Do you know how my father treated my mother? When he was rich and he was driving Porsche cars and he was working in big industries and he was, you know, and he had all it took to actually create a better family for himself. What he did is he threw us away and we were less important, and everything about him was the most important. So now he needs me after, you know, he didn't need me. Then call me when he's dead. I will come for burial. So do you see, we don't want to get into that. All right. And then a healthy man, I just want us to wrap up this. We're not going to be able to go into the traits of a broken and a toxic man, but I've been comparing here and there. So most of the time, a healthy man will pour into your self-esteem. They will refill the bank of your self-esteem. They will refill. There's a time I gave you an example. I've said this story before, where someone walked to me after a very good speaking engagement at Hold My Hand and told me, oh, you speak so fast, you don't give your audience to actually maybe internalize what you're talking about. And like, he was quite negative. It was the first time I was seeing him. And, you know, I was like, so I was taken aback. I was like, okay. Now, in that moment when someone gives you bad feedback, negative feedback, you actually, because you are exhausted and and someone has been that bold, sometimes you feel like, okay, maybe this person has a degree of truth to it. I remember when Tim came to pick me from Thobani. When I sat in the car, he actually, I think he just, the whole environment was different. How I was acting was different. He was like, what's wrong with you? I was like, so after he pestered for like 3 times, I was like, you know, there's this man that came and said this and this. So he burst out and laughed. I was like, okay, so you are listening to one person that you have never seen. I remember he even made a joke. And he was like, it's possible that it was actually a demon that you will never see again. And by the way, truth be told, I have never seen that man again. And that was the first time, and it was the last time. And so he was like, it's possible that the devil put on human form and he came to just, you know, disorganize you where you felt there was impact and everyone was saying, oh my God, you have changed my life. All of a sudden, one person shows up and they're pouring cold water on that and they're putting you down. I was like, okay, so let me ask you again. So do you see how a healthy man pours back the self-esteem into either their woman or the women around them or the people around them? And I'm like, you know what? Amen. You've done this for the past, what, 10, 13 years? And the people whose lives have changed, why are people still coming to you? They would have said, everyone in the world would have said, oh, you speak so fast, so we cannot deal with you. Why is it that people are still coming for sessions? Why is it people still come for events? It's because they understand what you're talking about. It's because they love what you're talking about. It's because you're impacting their lives. And you know, so slowly by slowly, my belief system is being re-engineered in that moment to still believe in myself. But that is being done by someone who also have a sense of self-esteem by themselves. So just imagine, I have seen toxic men or broken men, when someone says something bad about their women, let me tell you, they will add some. It takes a person mentioning one bad thing about their woman and they will say 10 bad things about their woman. Why? It is an effort to pull down that woman so that the woman will feel like they are nothing in the world. That is why most of the women come to me and tell me, I'm second guessing myself all the time. And you know, I am a CEO in this company. And before I actually met this man, I was the kind who had confidence, who had self-esteem. And you know, I was a go-getter. I was making decisions. But right now I'm second guessing myself on even the decisions. Some people have big businesses and they're like, I'm second guessing myself even on my business. And yet I had run it for 15 years before this man came into my life. But right now I feel like I'm going mad. I feel like admitting myself to Tabika. I feel like I'm losing my mind because perpetually there's a voice that is pulling me down and making me feel like I cannot do anything. I will never amount to anything. And you know, I even got here by mistake. So do you see that? So we should be very, 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 very careful. And a healthy man is really a giver. A healthy man supports. A healthy man does not have all these guards around them, you know, to make them feel good. You know, a healthy man is interested, and they will show pure interest, okay, in you. But a man that is broken or a man that is toxic feels like if I show interest in them, then I'm giving them an upper hand. And so that means they're going to dominate over me. Do you see the fears that they carry? But a healthy man is one that will show interest, and they will actually mean the interest, and they will sustain that interest. They will not be the kind who will be love bombing you, showing you interest, and then going down and showing you like you are nothing. And then when you are just about to make a decision to walk out of their lives, all of a sudden they show the interest back. You know, that is deceiving. That is heartbreaking, okay? That's not supposed to happen in people's lives, okay? You are supposed to have people that are grounded and people that believe in themselves and believe in you, and they show constant level of interest, okay? And they're not playing games. You're not a child. We are adults, okay? And I know I'm speaking to you. Most of you are CEOs. Most of you have big companies. Most of you are operating big businesses. Most of you have bigger dreams. And I will tell you, as a lady, if you are really looking to go far, okay, what you are looking for if you're single is a healthy man, okay? You're not looking to get projects of broken men and narcissistic men so that you can put on mechanic clothes and go under that love and try to rectify that love. You are not their mother. You are not their God. And so most of the times, the best that you can do is to love them unconditionally. But that means that you have to be able to be very patient about all the narcissistic and broken traits that you will ever see. And after some time, you'll be exhausted. Okay? And I don't want you to end there. But if you're a broken man, and if you are a narcissistic man and a toxic man, you still have a chance to change. And I will end with this because I'm not able to finish everything I prepared. I will end with this, that, you know, for a broken man to change, an narcissistic man to change, they have to want to change. You cannot change them. So as a woman that is trying to change another, or I'm trying to be good that he will change, or I'm trying to you know, so he will change, or I'm trying to be, you are going to do all the good and you're going to get all the bad, and you're going to be disappointed and frustrated and agitated because you cannot change anyone. Do not try to change anyone. The only change that can happen is if they are interested and they are willing to pay the price for the change that they want to see in their lives. I love you guys. Bless you.